Okay guys, welcome back. I'm Dr. H on behalf of Octo Media, and this is my third basic orientation tutorial for Maya, the modeling and animation program. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to model and, more importantly, texture just a simple piece of scenery like a rock or mountain, depending on the size and scale. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to go to my Create menu, and I'm going to work with polygons, and I'm going to work with a cube. Now I don't want my cube to be 1 by 1 by 1 because, as we saw in the last tutorial, I want to be able to grab some of the faces and maybe deform it a little bit. So I'm going to go with 3 by 3 by 3. That's still going to create, there we go, still going to create a fairly decent cube, but it's not going to be too many polygons. 108, nice and simple. So what I'm going to do to make this look like a rock is I'm going to put some texture on it. Now in order to put texture on it, you first of all have to create a material. Now, here's a useful way to think about materials. Let's take a look at these black cars. Obviously, the cars are both made of metal, but they don't look like they're made of the same kind of metal. They're both black, they're both cars, but this has a matte black finish, almost like a kind of plastic effect. It doesn't shine on the light very much, it doesn't reflect very much light. Over here, on the other hand, this kind of polished, waxed black car, this is clearly very shiny. This reflects a lot of light. So what a material does is it allows you to control the color and, of course, the pattern that you're putting on there, as well as how the object responds under various conditions, like if you shine a light at it. So what I'm going to show you here, if I hold my right mouse button, I get these options. I'm going to go down here to where it says Assign New Material. I'm going to let go. So there are lots of different options that you can choose from in Maya 2018. It's possible to get a little bit lost. So I'm just going to highlight a few that we might use. Blinn is quite shiny. You can see how the shiny reflection in here is more reflective than Lambert, which is a sort of a matte finish that we might use here. And then down we've got Phong and Phong E. Phong is a little bit more kind of pronounced with a pinpoint of the reflection, and Phong E is a little bit more refracted. Generally speaking, Blinn, Lambert, Phong and Phong E will cover 99% of what you're going to want to do in Maya. So I'm going to think about what I'm making here. I'm making a rock. I'm making a basic rock. So it doesn't want to be shiny. It doesn't want to reflect the light. So I'm going to use Lambert, which is the perfect material for me. As soon as I do this over here in the attribute editor, which you can click here to get, I get Lambert 2. Now, the first Lambert, the basic default Lambert is this basic grey. This is that's called Lambert 1. This is Lambert 2. I'm going to get very lost very quickly if I don't name my assets. So I'm going to call this Granite. What I can do now, down here where it says color, I could click here and change the color of the object. So what you'll see is it doesn't look like it's made any difference. The reason for that is because there are 3 different viewing modes that you can have in Maya. If you push 4 on the keyboard, it gives you wireframe mode, which is basically allows you to mesh and see through. If you push 5, it gives you the basic Lambert mode. And if you're running low on virtual memory and you don't want to render all of your textures and lights and everything else, that's a good system to work with just for getting the basic shape. If you push 6, it gives you textures. And you can see, as I've changed the color here, it changes the color in real time. But I'm not really interested in the color, because what I want to do is I want to apply a texture. So here's Granite. Instead of clicking on the color box here, I'm going to click on this little checker box down here. What this allows me to do is to go find a file here. And that means I can put on it anything I've downloaded. So earlier on, I opened up Google Chrome and I searched for seamless granite texture. The seamless bit's very important because it means that you can tile it. You can put one next to the other, next to the other, next to the other, and it's perfectly seamless. It doesn't have a kind of an edge that looks like a chessboard or looks like cobblestones. So I'm just going to find something that I like. Worth pointing out, if I was modeling for a professional project, I would have to go into Tools and check the usage rights and labeled for reuse. Because I'm just doing this as a basic tutorial, I won't do that. So let me think about what I want here. I don't want something marble and shiny because I'm trying to create a rock. I'm going to go for this one here. Just do a quick check, make sure there's no watermark on it. And I'm going to right click it and save it as Granite. So I'm going to call it Granite. Importantly, I'm not going to save it in the downloads for reasons I'll get into in a second. I'm going to save it instead onto the desktop of the computer. If I click Save, and then if I go back into Maya here and click on this little file icon, it means I can browse to wherever I've saved it. Now, if this was a proper project, we need to set it up, and in the next tutorial I'll show you how to do that. But right now, we're just going to get this texture on. It's in here. Click on Date Modified. which doesn't help very much. What was it called? Granite. Search for G, granite. There we go. And there's the texture. I'm going to click open, and it goes onto my object there like so. So now I've got my granite cube starting to look a little bit more granity. But here's the problem. It's also starting to look a little bit cubey, and I don't want a cube, I want a rock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deform this slightly. I'm going to use the vertex manipulator, and I'm going to just shift select the edges, the corners, excuse me, the 8 corners of the cube, like so. And I'm going to use the scale tool, which is R, and I'm going to bring them all in, uniformly in. Looks like I've missed a few out. No, that's fine. I'm then going to select the face tool here to select that face, shift that face, shift select that face, rotate round, shift select that face, shift select that face, shift select that face, and shift select that face. And if I take those out like that, I'm starting to get something that's a little bit more rocky in shape. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop into a quick speed modeling, and I'm just going to make it irregular because rocks aren't generally symmetrical. Okay, so that's looking a little bit more like a rock. It's not uniform, it's not too obvious, and of course it's only 108 polygons. What I could now do is I could duplicate that rock, bring it out side by side, and this is the clever bit, flip it around a little bit and scale it so it's a little bit bigger, and suddenly, to the naked eye, this looks like a totally different rock. Nobody's going to look at that and go, do you know what, that's the same rock. Using this system, it's very easy to create large-scale terrain quite quickly. Now I can shift select both of them, duplicate, pull them out like that, flip them round, and suddenly I've got the making of my very own boulder canyon. In the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how to properly set up for a project, including how to access the settings and preferences, how to make sure you organize your assets professionally, and how to change the modeling units of your project. I've been Dr. H on behalf of Octo Media. Thank you very much. Please hit subscribe for more tutorials.